What's up guys, today being the 12th day of November, we have another story that is fascinating as it is shocking. The entire country, both home and abroad, is buzzing right now because of the latest developments surrounding Nnamdi Kanu's ongoing case. And trust me, this update is not just about Nigeria anymore, it's about what's happening in the United States concerning Kanu's legal battle. So if you're watching this, please stay with me till the very end, because this one right here is packed with unbelievable revelations. Now, let's take it from the top. On the 6th of November, Aloy Ejimako, who happens to be one of Nnamdi Kanu's lead counsels, made a public appeal reaching out to former US President Donald Trump, seeking help and intervention in Kanu's matter. Fast forward till today, and something major has happened that could shift everything we thought we knew about this case. You see, sometimes back on the 18th of June 2025, when Nnamdi Kanu appeared before the Federal High Court in Abuja, there were some very important faces in attendance, the American representatives, live and in person. These individuals weren't just random observers, they were part of a highly respected organization in the United States known as the National Center for State Courts, or NCSC for short. Their mission was to study, observe, and report on how the Nigerian judicial process was being concluded, particularly during Kanu's trial. And here's where it gets even more interesting. These Americans have since returned to the US, and guess what? They've submitted an official report to the US government directly to the former President Donald Trump, detailing everything they witnessed in that courtroom. They didn't just talk about the trial, they highlighted critical issues and flaws within Nigeria's judicial system. According to them, the system lacks full compliance with international best practices. They mentioned issues like lack of proper representation for the accused, ineffective courtroom management, and even the violation of defendants' rights. Those are strong words coming from an internationally recognized judicial body. Now, the NCSC didn't stop there. They published their findings on their official website and Twitter page, and from what they wrote, it's clear they are concerned about how the Nigerian judiciary operates. They've listed several Nigerian institutions they've been working with. Institutions such as the Ministry of Justice, the National Judicial Institute, and of course the Federal High Court in Abuja. But what caught everyone's attention was a particular tweet they made on the 7th of November, just hours after Justice Nyako announced that Kanu's judgment would be delivered on the 20th. The NCSC tweeted, and I quote, "Language should never be a barrier to justice." They went on to talk about virtual interpreting programs and access to interpreters in courtrooms. Now, some people might see that as a random post, but others are reading between the lines. Many believe it's a subtle message, a way of pointing out that there might be issues of fairness and communication within Nigerian courts, especially in cases like that of Kanu. But let's just move on, guys. After those Americans made their report, everything was passed on to one man coordinating the entire process, a US-based lawyer known as Bruce Fein. If you've been following this case closely, that name will sound familiar. Bruce Fein is an American attorney and international legal representative for Nnamdi Kanu. He has been deeply involved in this matter from the very beginning. In fact, this man once came to Nigeria in 2021 to represent Kanu, but he was reportedly denied access to see his client by the DSS, despite a court order that allowed it. He told US authorities that he had flown all the way to Nigeria only to be turned back and told he had no jurisdiction to see Kanu in Nigeria. That experience alone was documented in legal report dated September 2021, where it was officially stated that, and I quote, "DSS stopped Kanu's lawyers from visiting him despite a court order." According to Bruce Fein, it is a very clear violation of human rights and due process, but it didn't end there either. He also revealed that he requested for Kanu to be transferred from DSS custody to the Kuje Correctional Center, since Kanu had been kept in isolation for years without proper interaction. That request was also denied. These, according to Bruce Fein, are clear signs of a system that has failed to uphold its own constitution. Bruce Fein then went on to outlined 8 specific ways in which the Nigerian government allegedly violated Nnamdi Kanu's rights. The first and perhaps the most serious is the illegal abduction from Kenya in 2021. He explained that Kanu's arrest and transfer to Nigeria were done unlawfully without following the extradition process, something that undermines the very foundation of the case. Other violations include the conduction, or rather conducting the trial under a repealed law, denial of fair legal representation, use of inadmissible evidence, poor detention conditions, and political interference in the judiciary. And this brings us together to another big revelation. According to Bruce Fein, the judge presiding over Kanu's case, Justice Binta Nyako has a long history of handling politically influenced cases from internal party disputes to the SS-related matters. He argues that someone with such a political background should never have been allowed to preside over a sensitive civil rights case like Kanu's own. Fein also pointed out the cozy relationship between Nigeria's judiciary and the political figures, mentioning that even judges' official residencies are approved and funded by politicians. The implication is that true judicial independence is compromised, and that is one of the points raised before the US government. Fein didn't stop there. He reminded US officials that at one point, a federal high court sitting in Umuahia actually declared Kanu's arrest and rendition illegal and ordered that he be released immediately. That judgment is public record. It clearly stated that Kanu's abduction from Kenya was unconstitutional and violated his right to personal liberty. Yet, despite that ruling, Kanu remains detained. Bruce Fein attached that court order to the official document sent to Trump, showing that even Nigeria's own courts have previously ruled in favor of Kanu's freedom. Now guys, here is where it becomes even more intense. Bruce Fein questioned Nigeria's government directly, asking a simple yet powerful question: was Nnamdi Kanu ever placed on the Interpol wanted list? Because if truly he was a wanted man, Interpol would have detained him either before he left the UK or immediately upon arrival in Kenya. Yet none of that happened, meaning according to Fein, Kanu's name was never on any Interpol list, so how then was he adopted in Kenya and flown back to Nigeria? The logical conclusion is that his rendition was done illegally outside the framework of both Nigerian and the Kenyan law. To make things worse, there exists an active extradition treaty between Nigeria and Kenya, meaning the Nigeria government could have legally applied for Kanu's transfer, but instead they chose an unlawful route, one that now puts the credibility of the entire process in question. This is why Bruce Fein insists that everything about Kanu's detention is illegal, from his arrest to his trial, and unless the Nigerian judiciary corrects these wrongs, the United States may soon have no choice but to step in. Now, something else surprising happened. Nnamdi Kanu was recently awarded the Freedom Fighter Award despite being held in custody for over 5 years. The award, which was reported by Daily Post and Premium Times, was presented just days ahead of his November 20th judgment date. The irony of it all has left many Nigerians speechless. A man detained without conviction, now being honored as a hero of justice and freedom. As it stands, the US government is watching this case closely. Bruce Fein has submitted his findings, and the NCSC's report has added international weight to Kanu's cause. There are strong indications that the US may soon demand answers from Nigeria on how this man was brought into the country in the first place. The Nigerian government once claimed that Interpol assisted them, but Interpol has since then denied its involvement, stating clearly that they played no role in Kanu's arrest or his transfer. That contradiction alone is enough to spark diplomatic tension. So what will happen next? Well guys, from every indication, the Nigerian government is under pressure to act. They've been given a clear window, 10 days from now until the 20th of November, to do the needful, and by do the needful, Bruce Fein isn't necessarily saying release Kanu, but rather follow the law. If the arrest was illegal, then justice demands that the process be corrected. You can't claim to uphold the law while breaking it at the same time. Analysts believe that Justice Nyako may now be considering dropping all charges against Kanu simply because there is no longer a solid legal foundation for the case. The entire prosecution rests on a flawed beginning and unlawful rendition That violates both Nigerian and international law, and once the foundation of a case is faulty, the entire structure crumbles. So here we are, 10 days to go before the judgment day, and the world is watching. Will Nigeria uphold justice and restore its credibility before the international community, or will this case drag the nation's judiciary deeper into controversy? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. Whatever happens next will shape not just the future of Nnamdi Kanu, but also Nigerian standing before the entire world. Because for the first time, the US and other foreign observers have full documented evidence of how this case has been handled, and if the Nigerian government fails to take the right step, this matter may no longer be just a local issue, it could become an international crisis. So as we prepare for the 20th of November, stay tuned. The developments we are about to witness may redefine everything we thought we knew about this case. This is not just another political trial anymore. It's now a global conversation about justice, truth, and accountability. And to everyone who stayed to this part of the video, I appreciate you deeply. Drop a comment saying I watched till the end, and I'll be sure to give you a shout out in the next update. We'll have so much more coming. From Simon's appeal hearing to the latest on the Nigerian referendum, the days ahead will be very revealing. So stay tuned, stay subscribed, and let's keep watching how this unfolds together, because as it stands, one thing is pretty much certain. The world is finally paying attention to the crisis in Nigeria. Until next time, this is Baz News signing out. Now, thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe.